I've got a promotion exam at work, and I need to buy the study materials for it. Also, if I don't do overtime, my salary will be reduced.
Mike said while we were discussing how to manage our finances for our life together after getting married. He has to study for the promotion exam, so the money he can bring into the household will decrease. I thought it was fine since both of us are working. However, right after that, I started feeling uneasy about Mike's behavior. He was using an unfamiliar app on his phone, and his overtime suddenly increased. Most of all, when we went out to eat, he wouldn't take a single bite of food. I was also curious about the waiter's strange hand movements. I felt like I had seen those hand movements somewhere before. If my suspicion is right, it could turn out to be pretty bad. I left the bar for a drink and distanced myself from Mike. I decided to uncover his suspicious activities. Thinking nobody would notice was a huge mistake. My name is Emily Wilson, and I'm turning 38 this year. I work as a tax accountant, and both my career and personal life are fulfilling. I can proudly say that I'm enjoying both my professional and personal life now, but it was quite a challenging journey to get here. When I graduated from college, the economy was in a slump, and I struggled to find a job. I felt a strong pressure to work properly and become a part of the workforce, which led me to feel like I was just spinning my wheels at that time. Eventually, I landed a job offer from a small company. Honestly, I was reluctantly working there. However, that's when my turning point came. While working and interacting with other companies, I realized that many workplaces lacked vitality. Many companies were not able to increase their profits as they hoped and were struggling with what to do next. I wanted to help improve these companies' morale and sales, to increase the number of workplaces where people could work with a smile. Driven by this desire, I decided to pursue a career where I could contribute to the growth and performance of companies, which led me to become a tax accountant after years of study. I became a tax accountant at the age of 34. Switching from an employee in a small company to a tax accountant was quite an unusual path. Thanks to that, I finally found what I truly wanted to do. Of course, this journey made my work life very rewarding, but I felt something was missing in my personal life. What am I missing? I realized it was the absence of a partner who could be there for me, someone to share and solve problems with. My days off were spent alone, watching movies or shopping. My friends started having families and getting married, so our days out together became less frequent. While I do enjoy my alone time, I can't help but think how wonderful it would be to share these moments with someone special. At my friend's suggestion, I signed up for a dating site app. Among several people I messaged, there was one man with whom I felt a particular connection. That man turned out to be my future husband, Mike Smith. Mike worked for a well-known electronics company and seemed to be good at his job. Our message exchanges were smooth and effortless, which left a good impression on me. When we first met in person, I could easily picture myself being with him. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, but it doesn't really feel like the first time since we've been messaging on the app, right?
True, it almost feels like we've known each other for a long time. Was this one having the right chemistry felt like? Our conversation flowed naturally, both in tempo and content. I didn't know being in a relaxed relationship could feel this comfortable. And Mike was very suave, which I found appealing.
You might be surprised since we've just met, but I would like to date you with the intention of getting married, Emily.
I've always wanted to be with someone wonderful like you, Mike, so I'm truly happy. It didn't take long to move from dating with marriage in mind to the actual marriage. I will never forget Mike proposing to me at a beautiful seaside restaurant with a bouquet of roses.
Emily, I will make you happy. Please stay with me. Would you marry me?
Yes, I'd love to. I want to be with you forever. I finally married Mike at 38. It might have been a late spring compared to others, but marriage is not about age. When and whom you marry and what makes you happy is the most important thing. I was certain I could be happy with him. However, it seems I was the only one who thought this way. A faint shadow was looming over our marriage, yet I was reluctant to acknowledge it. Mike and I both worked, and we decided it was better to have some personal spending money, so we opted for an allowance system. We agreed to put the necessary funds into a common purse and left the rest for each of us to spend freely. When we discussed how much money to contribute in the future, Mike raised a concerning issue.
About the money we put in the common purse, is it okay if I contribute less than Emily?
What do you mean? If you don't mind, can I ask why? Then, hesitantly but finally, Mike spoke up.
There's a promotion exam at work coming up, and I need to buy materials for it. Also, if I leave work without doing overtime, my salary will be reduced.
Though, I see. Preparing for a promotion exam while working must be tough indeed. I understand. I'll help in any way I can.
Really? That's so like you, Emily.
Mike exclaimed with a clap of his hands. Of course, it's an important exam for your future career. I want you to be able to give it your best. I remembered the mental struggle I had when I was preparing for my tax accountant exam. Having quit my job to focus on studying at that time, I could imagine how difficult it must be to study for an exam while working. Don't worry about the money. Focus on preparing for your promotion exam, Mike.
Thank you. You're amazing, Emily.
So, when is the exam?
It's in 8 months. It's a bit far off, but...
As Mike expressed his relief at being able to focus on his studies, I reassured myself that this was the right thing to do. However, right after we agreed on this, Mike's work behavior drastically changed. What? You have a business trip the day after tomorrow? Right after we decided how much to contribute to our shared finances, his business trips for work suddenly increased.
It can't be helped. It's a work assignment.
But you need to prepare for the upcoming promotion exam, right? And yet, there are so many business trips.
Are you saying I should defy orders and not go on the business trip?
Mike stared at me as he said that. It's not that. I just got worried.
Then please don't interfere. How well I can perform here is what matters.
Okay, but don't overdo it. It's often said that men become oblivious to everything else once they're focused on work, and Mike seemed to fit that mold.
I've been with this company for a long time, and I want to expand my role even further in the future.
It would be great to see you achieving more. I'm here to support you. Mike looked satisfied, but I was oblivious to the underlying issues. He started bringing his work home, so I always made sure not to disturb him while he was focused. It felt restrictive, but I did it for Mike. Then, one quiet evening, the notification sound of a smartphone echoed in the living room. Oh, that's Mike's phone. The notification sounds beeped continuously just as Mike went to the bathroom. I thought I should inform him if it was an important work call. When I casually picked up his phone, something felt off. A glittering character on a light blue background was displayed prominently on the screen. Mike usually used his phone only for work, so this app seemed out of place. Could it be an app for meeting someone of the opposite sex? But that wouldn't make sense now that we're married. Just as I was pondering this, Mike came back from the bathroom.
Hey, why are you?
Oh, your phone was ringing nonstop, so I thought I'd give it to you in case it was work-related.
Hey, don't do more than you need to.
He rushed over and snatched his phone out of my hand. With a sharp snap, the phone transferred to Mike's hand. I'm sorry, but you don't have to snatch it like that.
Keep out of it. I haven't announced our marriage at work. It would be shocking if you suddenly answered my phone.
He explained while hastily checking his phone screen. Indeed, in a large company like Mike's, not everyone would know who's married and who's not. Even though I just tried to pass him his phone, he became irritable. Maybe his work isn't going well. Mike's mood often reflects how things are going at work, so it's probably the case this time too. After that day, I found myself being more cautious around Mike. I don't want to be accused of not doing a good job because of me. But then, perhaps noticing my concern, Mike approached me.
Hey, are you free after work this Thursday?
I'll probably finish around 7, but is there something special?
Well, I felt bad about the other day. How about we go out for a drink as an apology?
Seeing his awkward smile, I felt a wave of relief and quickly agreed. That sounds good, but it's unusual for you to suggest going out for drinks. What's the occasion? As I asked playfully, Mike seemed to relax and started talking.
Don't say that. I've just made some progress with a new client, and it went well. I wanted to share the happiness with you, Emily.
Oh, that's good news. I thought you were dealing with some tough project because you look so serious, but I'm glad it turned out well.
How about we meet at our usual station and then head to the bar from there?
Before we got married, we used to visit various places and enjoy bar hopping. We both liked having conversations without holding back and savored the pairing of drinks and snacks as a hobby. Lately, we hadn't had the chance to explore new places due to our busy schedules, but this seemed like the perfect opportunity. With frequent changes in the shops around our memory-filled station, we might discover some interesting new spots. I was really looking forward to the day of our date. To make sure I wasn't late for our meetup, I finished work earlier than usual. I remembered how we used to go bar hopping in this area before we got married. I was excited to remember that. We always chose a place based on our mood at the moment, making each visit unique.
Hey, over here. So, where shall we go today?
As we walked side by side through the bustling streets, a particular sign caught my attention. The decoration was modest, but each piece of ornamentation seemed sophisticated. The tile work was also delicately patterned, exuding a sense of style. The sign marked open-listed delicious-sounding dishes and the bartender's recommendations, handwritten with care. It appeared that the bartender's favorite drinks were on offer today. Seeing it for the first time, I felt drawn to it. Hey, how about we try this place today? Although I had passed by here many times, the discovery filled me with joy.
Really? This place? Shouldn't we check out a few others? There are plenty of bars around.
But this place has a variety of drinks and dishes, and it looks stylish. It might be nice to try something different for a change.
Huh? Have you ever wanted a stylish place? It's not like you to suddenly go for such ones. I can't keep up with this.
though there was no compelling reason to pick that particular bar. His strong refusal made me wonder if there was something more to it. I thought this place would be nice, but you don't like it, do you? Mike sighed heavily, as if giving up.
All right, as you wish.
His petulant behavior troubled me. Was my preference for this bar really such a bad choice? I couldn't understand the recent fluctuations in Mike's mood. Upon entering, we saw a bar counter and tables, with a bartender and a female apprentice, identified by her badge, standing nearby. I caught a fleeting glance from the bartender, which felt oddly unsettling. Perhaps because it had just opened? There were no other customers. It was like we had the place to ourselves. We took a seat at the back and unfolded the food menu. Let's start with some appetizers and maybe a whiskey soda.
Okay.
I closed the menu in my hand and placed our order using the touch panel nearby. It's modern, isn't it? Ordering at a bar with a tablet. It's nice not having to call over a waiter.
Yay.
Mike's response seemed somewhat distracted. The female apprentice bought us our food and drinks. She glanced at my face, then made a puzzled expression. Was there something on my face? Maybe my fatigue from work was showing? I took the dishes from her anyway. The food looked delicious. Assortment of cheese, pickles, and hot potato skins. I was torn about what to eat first. In front of Mike and me were the whiskey sodas we ordered. To Mike's work success, cheers! I tried to lift the mood, raising my glass with enthusiasm. Then, I eagerly started on the food in front of me. I had missed lunch due to a sudden work task, so I was famished. With such appetizing food in front of me, I couldn't resist. Also, I needed to put something in my stomach to prevent getting tipsy too quickly. I reached for the potato skins first. The hot sauce and creamy cheese were incredibly delicious, warming my chilled body. Glancing at Mike, I saw him sipping his whiskey soda slowly. It was unusual for him to drink his whiskey soda in such small sips, and his gaze seemed to wander. Besides, he was upset and had shifty eyes. Aren't you eating? Was Mike not fond of potatoes? While pondering this, I served myself another portion. If you're not eating, I will. I missed lunch today. While laughing and serving myself some potatoes, I caught the eye of a woman who was making a strange gesture. She was rotating her right ring finger on the palm of her left hand, which was facing upwards. Thinking about that peculiar movement, it dawned on me that it might be sign language for drugs. She was positioned so that only I could see her, implying she had something to convey just to me. Realizing she was using sign language to communicate with me specifically, I hastily put down my potatoes and headed to the bathroom with my smartphone. Sorry, I need to use the restroom real quick.
Are you feeling all right?
Just a moment. Keep eating. Feeling as if my feet were glued to the floor, I sensed it might be better to leave the bar. Perhaps it was best if I left first. Pretending it was work-related, I quickly returned from the bathroom and spoke to Mike. Sorry, I've got to go. Work called.
Oh, really? That's too bad.
Yo, sorry. Are you going to stay and drink?
Yay, might as well. It's been a while since I've been out.
Pretending to go back to work, I decided to stay at a business hotel instead. What the female apprentice at the bar was trying to say, Mike's expressions and his gestures, I felt curious and sensed that this was not going to end without incident. Overthinking made my head feel like it was going to explode. so I browsed websites on my smartphone to calm down. While watching the news, I noticed an intriguing advertisement. The ad for an app titled How to Meet Your Soulmate was the same one installed on Mike's phone. That's it. The notification that wouldn't stop on his phone. I thought it was work-related. I instinctively covered my gaping mouth with both hands. Should a married person even keep a dating app installed? Moreover, I know these kinds of apps are all the rage now, being released one after another in city advertisements. Therefore, people wanting to meet others must be using multiple apps. Given Mike's personality, he would be seeking efficiency, probably juggling several apps. It seems unlikely that he would have just one app downloaded. I had a bad feeling, so I decided to check what kind of app it was. Then, I discovered numerous apps. Though it was just a glimpse, some seemed familiar, as if they were on Mike's phone. Mike is meticulous and detailed, so it's hard to imagine him leaving unused apps lying around. I downloaded an app that seemed to be the same as the one Mike was using and registered as a member. That light blue app briefly shone on Mike's phone. I registered my name and a simple profile and started using it immediately. If Mike was using this app, it might unveil his true nature. I told Mike that I couldn't finish work and stayed overnight at a business hotel, then went to work directly from there, executing my plan. The next day, I took a personal day off and ventured out from the hotel into the city. I bought a brown long-haired wig and a hat, then uploaded my profile picture. Crafting my profile information so as not to be recognized, I quickly started searching for matches. Narrowing down by location, age, and interests, the number of potential matches decreased. I put in the name of a game that Mike likes, and all at once the number of matches was limited. Though unexpected, as I looked through profiles and icons, I discovered one that seemed to be Mike and easily matched with him. To avoid being discovered, I exchanged messages with him. In the app, Mike talked about being single, working for a certain company, and enjoying soccer and barbecues on his days off. Clearly, he didn't realize he was talking to me. I confirmed that Mike was using the app to meet up, and I went on my next mission. On Friday night, after returning home, I placed a lost item tag in our car, used by both of us. Just to be sure, I also placed it in the pocket of my cardigan left in the car. Then, I returned home, acting as if nothing had happened. Given Mike's frequent use of dating apps, he probably wasn't just talking to one person. I'm home. Work was crazy after that. Do you have any plans for this weekend, Mike?
I have to go out for work, so it doesn't look like I'll get the weekend off.
Really? That sounds tough. There's a sale going on, so I plan to go shopping by myself.
All right, have a good time.
As I said it, I glanced at Mike heading to the shower with his phone in his hand. In fact, I already knew that Mike had been searching on the family computer for tourist spots in the neighboring town. He had looked up ferry schedules, a delicious bakery, parks with nighttime views, and even hotels. Moreover, his search history included "she's the one" gift and fifth date proposal lines, so the woman he was planning to date this time must be his true love. I decided to make my move the following weekend.
Well, I'm going to work. You know, working on a day off is the worst.
That's true. Then you have a good day. After seeing Mike drive away, I started my move to catch him in the act of cheating. I booked a room in the hotel Mike had searched for and first monitored his movements from there. The lost item tag's movement confirmed he was indeed heading to the neighboring town. I watched the pin move to the ferry terminal and a chic cafe. Tonight, at the park with a night view, would be where I'd confront him. It was easy to imagine him parking the car near the park to enjoy the night view. I waited until evening to go to the park and looked around. Then, a familiar car entered the parking lot. Mike and a woman I don't know got out of her car. Mike had his arm around the waist of the unfamiliar woman, escorting her to a spot with a good view of the night scene. After watching Mike and the woman walk away from the car, I got into the back seat. Crouched under the seat, I waited for the two to return. Soon, the satisfied pair returned from viewing the night scene.
It was really beautiful. I'm thrilled to think about the wonderful night ahead with you,
Mike said as he sat in the driver's seat. The woman, presumably his affair partner, took the passenger seat. I stood up from the back seat and put my hands around Mike's body like a hug. Hey, what's all this about? Mike turned around with a guilty look.
Well, it's just that.
So, you plan to propose to your girlfriend on the 5th date at this park with a view? Thought you could smoothly carry on with your affair? In the dim car, Mike's face drained of color. His pale face in the darkness was scarier than a ghost. You've been deceiving me and cheating? And you've been drugging drinks at the bar with your buddy bartender, haven't you?
What? Why would say that?
Mike was still flustered. Why? Want to know? At that moment, he fell silent, helpless. Your behavior at that bar was very weird. When I checked the reviews, there were several women who had gotten terribly drunk. That seemed odd because all the comments were from women.
So what do you want from me?
Mike still hasn't figured out his situation. He came out strong. Is that bartender your accomplice? He's quite the schemer. After visiting again, I spoke with a female apprentice who told me about the women you brought along.
The women I brought?
Yes, each time a different woman, all ending up barely able to walk, dead drunk. They say women get drunk faster than men, but isn't it strange to be that intoxicated at a bar? Mike bit his lip, at a loss for words. The woman working there thought it was just her imagination at first, but she began to see a pattern. She discreetly informed me.
Just because someone got drunk while I was there, you suspect me?
I was appalled by Mike's pull excuse. I pulled out a pen. It was the pen I had secretly placed in Mike's bag. This pen has a recording function. I turned it on, so it recorded what you talked about at the bar. You understand what this means, right? Mike's face turned pale. It was an expression I had never seen before. Without hesitation, I pressed the play button. The recording captured his gratitude for spiking the drinks to make them more intoxicating. I can't believe you did this. I can't trust you anymore. Overwhelmed by being called out, Mike reacted with furious anger.
You should be grateful I married a leftover like you, sneaking around like some detective.
Mike spat angrily, slamming his bag onto the ground. The woman next to him glared at me and said something outrageous.
You're the one binding Mike, aren't you? It's because of your insidious actions that you're disliked. I would never do such things.
The woman, who introduced herself as Julie, was obviously Mike's affair partner. She leaned close to him like a lover. And it's like a little puppy barking.
I knew he was married, but I'm more suitable for him. His other women were just flings. I'm the one who will be happy with Mike.
More suitable for him?
He works at a manufacturing company and is about to get promoted. He said I could be a stay-at-home wife, and he'd make the best husband.
She is a worker, but she doesn't seem to think about it. She was unaware of her mistake. The man you want to marry is about to be fired. Your future has been disfired. Julie's face showed shock, quickly turning to uproar.
That's a lie. Mike getting fired.
Do you say that because you are disappointed that I cheated on you?
I showed her a printout. I had to contact his company before. Turns out he lied about business trips to go on romantic getaways with you. The printout contained evidence of his false reporting, including schedules and fake business trip receipts. The company was shocked by his conduct and is about to terminate his employment contract.
Terminate the contract? But he's supposed to become an assistant manager.
I laughed at the absurdity. You didn't know the truth. He's just a contract employee. Julie looked lost, unsure of what to believe. I don't see the appeal of a man who gets women drunk for his pleasure and is just a temp worker, but if that's what you want, he's all yours.
No, I don't want a man who's getting fired.
Julie retorted, then tried to walk away from the passenger seat. I put my foot in front of Julie's. Julie fell hard and hit her face on the ground.
How could you do that?
You knew he was married and still pursued an affair, even trying to steal him away. You were prepared for the high cost of infidelity, right? Now Julie's face turned pale.
I'm a woman and can't pay alimony. I don't have that kind of money.
It's shameful to say you don't have money because you're a woman at your age. It's undoubtedly your own fault due to lack of ability.
Hey, you don't need to go that far.
Mike said, wrapping his arms around Julie defensively. I've had enough of your farce. A woman who robs married men. A man who conspires with a bartender to intoxicate women for his own desires. You two look great together. I walked away from Mike and Julie.
I'm a woman, so obviously I can't pay. Mike will take care of everything, right?
Hey, these days are gender equality. There's no men will or women can't anymore. Take care of your own issues.
How awful. Are you betraying me?
I heard the two arguing behind me. I was surprised to hear the word betray from Julie, but that no longer had anything to do with me. I returned home once and left with only the necessary luggage. Mike called many times wanting to reconcile, but I ignored all his attempts. Once, I answered thinking it was an unknown number, but it was Mike.
Please, let's not get divorced.
Are you in any position to say you don't want a divorce?
But I can't live if we divorce now. Wait until I find another job.
I sighed heavily. You want me to support you until you're reemployed? No way. Cry to your mistress. Then Mike yelled in desperation.
I can't do something that pathetic.
But I was not one to be intimidated. Pathetic? Who's the one that did such pathetic things to me? Mike fell silent. Anyway, I'll have my lawyer contact you. I was able to claim alimony through the lawyer. However, since Mike was jobless after contract termination, his parents had to cover for him. Now, he's working hard at a construction site from morning till night, as introduced by his parents. His bad attitude and snide remarks have made him a target of disdain among his seniors. As for Julie, she was fired from her job for having an affair and is known for shouting "I did nothing wrong" until the end, as I heard from a former co-worker. After that, Mike and I officially divorced, and I've been enjoying my life alone. Work and personal life are going well, and divorcing Mike was the best decision. Recently, as a tax accountant, I've been getting more clients, many of whom say, "I'm glad I asked for your help." When I hear that, I feel good about the work I do. Marrying Mike was a mistake, but it taught me to choose my own life, so I have no regrets. By chance, I met the apprentice from that bar at a mall's food court, and we hit it off. That encounter led us to occasionally meet for coffee. She shared how happy she was to use the sign language she learned in Sign Language Club in such a way, which left a deep impression on me. Interestingly, she had no idea I was Mike's wife, making it a funny story we still talk about. Now, living my life without any issues, I think things turned out for the best.